Welcome everybody to Nine's Corner. How is everybody? Have you had a good week? I have not. It has been a little bit of a difficult week. Um, Rest in peace to Colin Powell. On October 19th, it was my mom's birthday. She would have been 88. But that morning, my husband's grandmother, Fedor, passed away while they were on FaceTime together. And she is from Poland. She's been in Canada for about 4 or 5 years. So she speaks mostly Polish. But every day she would watch my videos. She was like one of my biggest supporters, and she prayed for us every day. And she passed away non-COVID related. And that day, because you know me and candles and stuff, and that day I had this purple candle that had 3 wicks, and she was very religious. And so I had the 3 wicks for the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. And, you know, it's one thing to have a strong belief in energy, but then when it actually touches you, it's another thing. Because I had lit candles, the 3 wicks, and during the day, one of the wicks went out, and my husband noticed it, and I lit it up again, and then shortly after it went out, and I felt energetically like this was a sign, or it was almost like just a knowing, you know. God bless her. And, there's just been a lot of death, a lot of dying, a lot of stuff that's been going on that affects a lot of people. But we're all in the same boat. We're all born, and we're all born to die. And, we're looking at, okay, just say this week, we've got Brian Laundrie. His body has been found. I mean, it's a hard situation because you don't want to say anything negative, but then you don't want to say anything positive either. I remember when we did our reading on him, we did say that he would be found close to home, and he was. He was in Florida. Now, at the time, I thought for sure he's still alive, not meaning he'd be alive in the future, but at that time, because I read energies of that moment, I do not like saying if somebody's passed away or not, because I don't, there's always miracles, there's always God. So I try not to do that. So I'll be very interested to see what are the circumstances surrounding it, because it seems to me like, if you were his parents, would you let him go off? Like, no matter how much you wanted to, wouldn't you call an ambulance if you thought that he was losing his mind? And so it's not that I question the parents, because I guess, but there for the grace of God go I, and who knows what you would do. But I don't know. I can't imagine that they felt good letting him go off, knowing that he was in an emotional state. So let's see what's going to happen with Brian Laundrie. And, there's already theories and conspiracies out there that he's actually alive, that the dental records were just from teeth that he had. And I just can't imagine that the FBI and the police and all these people wouldn't know the difference between a setup of 1 or 2 teeth in comparison to like an actual full body. But we'll wait and see what comes of it. I wonder if the parents are going to have any issues, because it's concerning to think that nobody could find him. They kept looking at the same area, so obviously they were getting help or knowledge from the parents. And yet then as soon as the dad goes out, he's the one that finds everything. It is a little bit, but anyway, let's see. Brian and family. 2 of Wands. Looking beyond. I think the parents felt that whatever, it's almost like they knew their son was going out and it would not be a good thing, but at the same time, it's like they felt that his world would be so incomprehensibly terrible that they allowed it to happen. They allowed him to go. The hermit, he was alone, he was sad. I would imagine, I mean, look, it could come back however he died. It could have been because of the elements, it could have been because of a animal or a sting or, anything of that nature. But with the hermit here, there's a feeling of going it alone, doing it of himself. I'm trying to avoid any words that are not, accepted by Facebook, by YouTube. So you know what I mean. He did it of his own fruition. Strength card. The family's going to need a lot of strength to get through this, and if anything, this might help strengthen the family because sympathies, realizing that the parents were in this unbearable space where they were between a rock and a hard place. And what would you do if it was your child? You don't know unless you're going through it. So it's a sad case. And the interesting or the not so good thing about it was the fact that during this time they found several bodies of other missing people. And you're thinking, my God, imagine all those people and their loved ones looking for them and their loved ones sad and why, is it just certain cases that get this treatment, or is it every case? Because it can't be, or we'd be hearing about it. There's something uneven about it. Let's have a quick look at Steve Bannon. In our last reading, we said that he would get in trouble, get in contempt of court for not going forth with his subpoena. Now it's in the Senate, and let's just look and see what, if he's going to get in trouble for this, because if not, you heard the news, I'm sure that, this would make the Senate pretty much inoperable, because it's, if they don't hold up their own rules, then they are safeguarding Bannon, with the knowledge that in the future, this is not going to end. It's only going to get worse. So let's see what's going to happen with Bannon. Ten of Cups. Yikes. He, just like our last reading, he is in on the ground floor. He knows about January 6th. He was a part of January 6th. He's got the support of at least one or two Republicans that are swaying. They are swaying. So I think that he is going to, the situation is going to be dealt with in a way. This could be Pelosi. This could be Kamala Harris. This could be a woman in power speaking to him and speaking around Bannon, not to Bannon, but to the other senators, to, basically put it to him that you're putting democracy and the U.S. in the danger zone if you don't do this. I think the overarching feeling of Bannon is that, yes, he will end up going in front of the Senate, or the Senate's going to vote, but I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to see some dissent here. And Bannon's going to follow Trump to his detriment. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is Joe Manchin. We've done a reading on him prior to, and He is definitely 100% a wolf in sheep's clothing. And he's talking about leaving, or there's rumors around him that he's been talking about leaving the Democratic Party, especially if he doesn't get the numbers he wants for the build it back better plan. What's Manchin going to do? Hermit, 100% he is thinking about himself. He's thinking about what's going to serve him best in the future. And the Republicans are all about coal, and he makes enough money to, off of coal that he's not willing to part with it. So I see this as him going it alone and becoming an independent. Will it happen before the Build It Back leak? It's either, okay, we're going to have to do a clarifier on this, because this looks like either he goes with the Build It Back, but then that's part of the reason after that you'll see between now and 2022 that he'll leave and become an independent. But this also could mean that they'll get him to agree, but then he'll use that as part of his reason why he wanted to leave, because he was feeling all this pressure. Let's have a look and see. Let's have a clarifier on the Five of Pentacles. Let's have a clarifier on it. What does that mean? Four of Pentacles. So I'm thinking that the Biden admin will be able to get him to accept some version of the Build It Back. But I think this is literally barely holding on, and that in the future we will see him leaving the Democratic Party. I think it will be after the Build It Back. He will end up going with Joe Biden. Them, like we've talked about this before, but it'll end up being a case of having to change the budget, having to change the numbers, and it's crazy to think how destructive the Democrats are on themselves. Like it's like they're too goody two shoes. Let's go. And for the last part of my reading, I, as a woman, am very concerned about what's happening in this world with women. When we look at it, we've got Afghanistan. The women are now having rules and regulations, and they're just going to keep getting worse. In the U.S., recently in Philadelphia, a woman was raped on a train, and it was done in front of passengers, and nobody stopped. In China, there's more men than there are women, so rapes have gone up and assaults have gone up. In London, they have a lot of cases of date rape in the social bars and stuff. Like it's like since the Me Too came out, we are seeing restrictions and harshness greater than we've ever seen before. It just feels like, how are we going backwards in time? We're supposed to be progressing, not going back. So I think as a collective, as women, we need to get together and support each other. We need to get together and say, no, this is my body, my time, my energy, my space. I'm a person. I'm just as equal as any man. Like, we need to stand up. So I'd like to look for some advice there about what should women do. Like, I'm really nervous, I'm 50 years old almost. So my life, I don't have to worry about children or any of that kind of things, but I'm looking at my children and my children's children. What kind of world are they going to have? So for women, Ace of Cups, a lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion about it. It's just that if it's not going to make money for the media to talk about it, then they're not going to talk about it. Even the way that they speak about it, they'll talk about underage women. No, it's not underage women. It is teenagers. It's children. Rather than saying, assault a child, they'll say assault an underage. Like, there's the language. It's so improper. King of Swords, the advice is to get out there and speak. Speak up as a woman. Get your men to speak up for you. This is a time not to go backwards, and we're going to have a fight on our hands. This is going to be coming out progressively more and more, but we need to get behind our sisters, no matter where they're from. And the last question, we're going to look at China, because here they've got a missile that they're saying the U.S. didn't know about. And I'm thinking, hello, we've had Donald Trump for 4 years. He probably knew about it, was like, oh yeah, China, let me give you this, or let me do, like, oh my God. So we did our reading about China, and I said, I don't believe they're going to start World War III anytime soon, but they are going to give us that up and down of, are they or aren't they? Should we be scared? Shouldn't we be scared? That all that's happening. So what's going to happen with China? Okay, the Four of Wands, but it's reversed. Their stability is not as strong as what they'd like to pretend. That's their structure that holds up China, that being their money, their financial, their health. All of that is teetering at this point. King of Wands wanting to show power, wanting to show that they are the ones that are in control, that have strength. Having to walk away. I'm telling you, it's a lot of talk, a lot of fear mongering, but I think China will just be doing exactly that. They're going to fear monger, because the more things that go wrong with their stability, whether it be their health, their economy, and all of that is starting to go up in flames. The harder that gets, the more you're going to see them pushing forward. The Communist Party is willing to self-explode in order to be able to save themselves. And in honor of Grandma Fedor, I have our unity candle lit for each and every one of us. For all those who've lost a loved one, all those who are feeling the pain of this time. We're in it together. We're going to be okay. And blessings to you and your family. All right, guys. Cheerio.